Get your own content on info@millenniumnews24.com. Download the Millennium News 24 app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Stay tuned with Millennium TV and Millennium News 24 for the latest updates.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the New American Perspective. I'm your host, Jineea Butler, and we're here live on Millennium News 24. I hope you missed me last week because I missed you last week, but I was doing a great service to a great friend of mine, Shirley Scott. She is Harlem's daughter, 83 years old, one of Harlem's remaining daughters, and it is amazing for her. She just got out of a nursing home, so shout out to Shirley Scott out there. But how are you around the world? This is the people's voice, and this is where we talk about what's happening in America and around the world and getting the perspectives. And you know, we always have our G-check. Mr. A.B. Butler will be back with us whenever he gets ready. He will be back with us. But today we're going to talk about a few things. First, do you know Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr.? Let me start there. Do you know Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr.? You know, the man that was standing next to Martin Luther King when he was tragically shot down in Memphis, Tennessee. Jesse Jackson Sr., who has been around the world, who has freed hostages, who has signed up the most people to vote in his lifetime, especially the people of color, but he has pushed it. Today is his birthday, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to give that great gentleman an 84th birthday shout out like no other. So if you are on Facebook, Instagram, or anything, go to his page and shout him out. He has Parkinson's now, so he can't communicate like he was the great orator. And that's what we got to look at too. The great orator. We have to look at that orator that cannot communicate now, but gets to watch his work in action. Now, I am a citizen of Jesse Jackson's. I am a part of the Jesse Jackson Rainbow Push Wall Street Conference, and that's where I got my start. I assisted him for 15 years, up until what are we in 2025? So up until 2022, I assisted him for 15 years, helping push along the Wall Street Project in New York and across the country, and we did great things. Hip hop. I started out. I went to him. Let me tell you what happened. I went to him first in 2008, and I said, Reverend Jackson, you know, I'm of the hip hop generation, if you didn't know, but I'm of the hip hop generation, and there is still a viable capital gain in the legends in hip hop of the past. He looked at me like, what? She talking about? She know I got beef with hip hop? And I'm like, listen, I know you got, you know, people have said some things, but that just, they don't understand you. And I want to bridge the gaps between civil rights and hip hop. And we did just that. And you seen the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Couldn't have been done if we didn't get on that stage for all those years and, you know, push it out. And today we have a great guest. You're going to love this guest, who also helped push hip hop 10 times more forward. His name is Clovis Campbell. He's out of Arizona. He has a great story, great stuff that he's doing, and we're going to talk to him about that. So, but before we get into our guest, because I wasn't on last year, I had to update you guys on everything that is going on. So let's first look at the fact. James Comey then got indicted. He's in court today getting arraigned, and he pleaded not guilty. Okay, so you remember James Comey? He was part of the Russia hoax stuff. And so now Trump is going back, you know, full speed ahead at anybody that wronged him. So now here's a perspective that I want to lock in with you guys. Do you think that's right? Do you think that's right for Trump to go after everybody that went after him? Now, of course, I think we could focus on some other things, right? But you're talking about a man that was scorned, a man that they tried to put under the jail, a man that came back after he said that they cheated a man that came back and won the United States presidency. He's got his own coin coming out. Did you see the coin? The 50-cent piece. First living president with his own coin for the 250th anniversary of the United States. So he's pressing the envelope. But do you think that he should be going after all his enemies? Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, she's on the list. He's got a hit list, and he's going down the hit list like the mafia boss he is. Let's be real. I love me some Trump. Now, I got a little beef with him right now because he hasn't said what we're going to do with the Black agenda. Now, we hear and see everybody going into Chicago. He's sending the National Guards into Chicago, and the mayor in the Chicago, Brandon Johnson, he's out there. He's talking about, we have to stop this war on Chicago. Well, Mayor Johnson, we're trying to stop the kids and everybody in Chicago that gets killed every weekend from getting killed. Okay. So they're like, Governor Pritzker, he's out there and he's saying, we're doing the work. We got the FBI. We don't need these people coming in and helping us. Well, Trump is saying, I got the real quick and easy way. We're arresting everybody in the building. And if you got a warrant, if you look suspicious, okay, if you are an immigrant, then ICE is coming into these buildings in the middle of the night, and they're saying that they're chaining up the babies and all of this stuff. I don't know where we're at. Now, they say this is Project 2025. Now, President Trump also said, I don't know nothing about 2025 when he was running for office. Now, I don't think that he didn't know. I honestly believe that he wasn't following that script. But now, President Trump, I'm going to keep it real. The perspectives are real here on the New American Perspective. Now, President Trump, I don't know what you're doing, but you said that you were going to be for all Americans. Now you got Bondi out here. She doing her thing. Everybody has in your circumference has no remorse, no feelings of anybody but themselves. That's what it feels like, right? And so we got Chicago, the National Guard. Well, the ICE going. It's not the National Guard. He is supposed to be sending the National Guard too, but ICE was in Chicago raids going to the projects. And they said they had kids running around and everything like that. Now, some people did say that some of those images that we seen were AI. So we're going to have to do something about AI, because what's AI and what's real? So we don't know that. We don't know how to distinguish that yet. Okay, so we got a lot to talk about. Okay, but again, happy birthday, 84th birthday to Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. He may not be able to communicate, but he can hear, he can see, and he is still here, and we are celebrating that. News over there, Jesse Jackson Jr., yes, Jr., who went to jail some years ago. He was on my panel for the first time. He spoke after jail on the Wall Street Project in New York. He was awesome. And jail had given him a new outlook on life, being Reverend Jesse Jackson's kid, and then going to federal prison, him and his wife and all of that stuff. And he came back, and I thought he was great then. But he's running for his old seat in Chicago. I think it's in District 1. I'm not sure about Chicago politics, but I think it's in District 1. And so he's running for his old seat in Chicago. And I think that he's going to win. Now, Jonathan Jackson, his brother, right, has the old Bobby Rush seat. Okay. He won that a few years ago. I think this is his first term in office. He'll, hopefully win again and again and again, and one day be the Speaker of the House, or one of them. Now the brothers are in there. So that would be, I'm positive that would be a great thing. He announced today officially on his birthday. So shout out to Jesse Jackson Jr. Good luck to you on that race. Don't hold back. Don't feel anything about it. You walk the walk of many of our brothers out here, so you could show our brothers that there is room for and time for redemption, and that you can be as great as you were the first time. So shout out to Jesse Jackson Jr. on that. Okay. Charlie Kirk. Okay, Candace Owens, she's out here running amok on everybody. She is, I don't know, Candace must be in some secret location where they can't find her IP address because girlfriend is talking that talk, okay? Girlfriend is going for it. Girlfriend is like, listen, let me tell you something about Charlie Kirk's killers. Charlie 48 hours before he died. Now she's talking big stuff right here. She talking about 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, okay, that he said that he is not effing with Israel. He said, I am leaving Israel. You know, like the black sit, the is the exit or something like that. So he was exiting, you know, from supporting Israel and all the things, and he was very mad. And Candace is mad now. You know, I always look at Candace and I say, okay, Candace, what's your angle here? Now, Candace and Charlie, they made their fame from Turning Point. Charlie used Candace and Candace used Charlie, and they went on all these college campuses and convinced all these kids and, you know, made them social media sensations. Not a bad idea there. Okay. But Candace is now saying that she has the text messages allegedly from Charlie Kirk, and the people at the Turning Point said these messages are real. Okay, so I don't know what's up with that, but they said these messages are real. And so basically, I seen the message myself. Charlie said, listen, I'm exiting Israel right now. And then they bust him in his head 48 hours later. So I don't know what that means. I'm not messing with y'all, Israel. I don't know how it do, but I am looking for President Trump's peace plan in Israel. Have you heard about that? I am looking for his peace plan. So he's got a 90-day peace plan that for the Gaza and Israel to come together, and both of them, the hostages are supposed to be released. So shout out to President Trump on doing that work. But listen, President Trump, we gonna need some black agendas going on right here. Okay. Listen, you didn't get in that office without us. Do not overlook us. Do not just say everything that about us is wrong and don't give us an opportunity to move forward with the American needle that you're talking about. Don't do that. God will see you on that too. And you know that. And I just have to say that. You know, I have to keep you in check, sir. Okay. So Comey indicted. They're saying that these Epstein files, that Trump is not going to be able to stop them from going out. And I know you heard about Diddy. Diddy. He got 4 years. He didn't ask President Trump already to pardon him. Diddy is serious stuff. Oh, looky here. How are you? This is Mr. Clovis Campbell. I was just giving everybody a rundown of what basically is happening in the news right now, but I'm so happy that you are joining us at this point. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Am I audible?
How
Can you hear
are
me?
you, Mr. Campbell?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well.
Doing well. So I was just telling everybody that Diddy just got 4 years in jail, and he's, you know, going crazy, asking for pardons. He's still looking for his privilege, right? Diddy is looking for the privilege that he is saying, listen, I want to do my time, my federal time in Fort Dix. I want to stay next to my family. I want to stay close. Don't send me all around the country like he does everybody else. So I don't know if he's going to get that, but Diddy is pushing hard. And I think that the walls are basically caving in on him at this point. But I just wanted to give everybody that update. Let's get into this beautiful gentleman right here. This is Mr. Clovis Campbell Jr., correct?
Correct.
Because there is a senior that preceded you that is the man and put you in your position and made you who you are today. So give us a little background on yourself, on Clovis Campbell Sr. I know he's got a school out there in Arizona, the newspaper. He's been in the politics, and most importantly, brought out the Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday in the state of Arizona, correct?
Look at my girl. You've done some homework, I see. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Yeah, we've been here for quite some time in Arizona. Everybody thinks there are not too many black people here, but as you can see, we got at least one. So yeah, he's been around. He was the first elected black state senator in Arizona in 1960. He served in the House of Representatives as well, and I kind of followed in his footsteps and served in the legislature as well. He had then established our newspaper, the only largest black newspaper in Arizona. We're getting ready to celebrate 55 years next year.
Wow.
So we're excited about that. And he's done quite a few things to make sure that not just black folks in Arizona, but, as you know, when black people do things, everybody takes advantage of them. So he was able to help some things that did some stuff for Arizonans as well. So we've been busy. We're doing things in Arizona. We're fighting. We're dealing with a lot of different issues here, as you know, or like everybody is around the country. So it's an uphill battle, but it keeps us on our toes.
Nice, nice. So, we got to go to a break real quick. We're going to go to a
Mhm.
break, take a couple seconds, but we'll go to a break and we're going to come back and we're going to learn about what you're doing with the Black Rodeo and the tour that's coming up. We're not necessarily going to see it so close in New York yet, but we're looking forward. So we'll be right back here on Millennium News 24 with my guest, Clovis Campbell, and everything else to come. Be right back. And we are back. We are back here on the New American Perspective. I'm your host, Jineea Butler. And today we have a great guest, Clovis Campbell, out of Arizona. So those of you that are just tuning in, just told us about all the great stuff they're doing in Arizona. And I'm sure that immigration is a big situation there in Arizona too, as well, right?
Absolutely.
That's like a huge thing going on. We talk about Trump all the time and everything that he's doing, sending ICE this way, that way, and just basically militarizing the United States and stuff. But let's talk about what you got going on in Arizona with this Black Rodeo. First, tell me a little bit about, like me being from the East, the black men and the cowboys, and tell me a little bit about how that got started and how you got to the point of the Black Rodeo.
Well, as you know, cowboys have been a mainstay in American history for a long time. But a lot of people don't realize that the term, even cowboy, was related to African American uh, slave handlers and people who were handling the cattle for the ranch owners. So they would go out, and the black men would go and make sure that the cattle were rustled up, would keep them in line, and they were always calling them boys. So from
Boy.
there, they were working with the cows. They called them boys, so they ended up being called a cowboy.
Wow.
From that, you think that John Wayne was the first real cowboy? Well, not really.
Right.
We've
Well,
got people like
100%.
Bass Reeves and others that were the first cowboys and the first black cowboys. So,
Right.
in essence, black cowboys have been around since the 1800s. We were here as Buffalo soldiers when they were fighting against,
Sure.
things in the war back then. So, black cowboys have been a part of American history for as long as America has almost been here. So,
Amazing.
fast forward to now. I was born around horses and cowboys and things like that. We had horses when I was young. Kind of got away from it for a while when I got married and got into a lot of other different things. But we ended up being part of a group that was doing rodeos throughout the country. And they came to Arizona and asked us, myself and my wife, Lynette, can you guys help us promote this since you know everybody black in Arizona? So we did it for about 3 or 4 years for other people. And
Right.
come to find out, they were keeping most of the money to themselves and we were doing all the work. You know how that works out. So
Yeah,
we
sound about
decided,
right.
yeah. So we decided we can do this on our own, and from that grew the first Arizona Black Rodeo, and that was in 2014. So we're moving on. We're getting ready for our 2011 actually, 2011. So now next year will be our 15th anniversary with the Arizona Black Rodeo. But from that, we've grown into what we call Black Rodeo USA. So we do more than just Arizona, but we do other cities around the country.
Okay.
And by the way, Arizona Black Rodeo was voted in the top five rodeos in the United States by USA Today poll. So not only are we a top five rodeo amongst Black people, but we're a top five rodeo amongst all rodeos in the country. So
That's deep
we're
because
pretty
I was
proud of that.
watching TV the other day and I saw this like huge white rodeo and they was,
Mhm.
they was about to get killed out there. And then my eyes opened real big when I seen what you were talking about and seeing how you bringing this to the Black community is just something, just even more of a phenomenon and how big that can truly get.
Absolutely. When you look at those rodeos on TV and you see the competitors, not many of them are Black, if any, if maybe
No,
one
none
or
of that,
two.
none at all.
No. And so what we've done is be able to offer an opportunity and a platform for those Black cowboys that do compete to be able to compete in a real fun atmosphere with people who appreciate what they're doing. And so our rodeo, I tell people all the time, we got Black cowboys, we got Black cowgirls, even the horses are Black in our rodeo. So everybody's Black and we have a
Right.
great time. It's a learning experience. People can bring their families, the kids. It's from grandbabies to grandmamas that can come and enjoy the Black rodeo. So
So
we've
how
expanded.
often do you do the rodeo? How often? What is the process of, kind of setting up if somebody wants to bring a rodeo to their town, what do they need to think about?
Well, it takes a couple of things. One is to make sure you have a proper location that can accommodate the facilities that can accommodate what we need to put on a rodeo.
Mm,
And there's very many, there's a lot of those around the country, but there are different types. So we have to make sure we find the right location. Um, we, um, we try to find a group or an organization that wants to support us when we get there. We like supporting cities that have Black newspapers in them. So
mhm,
as you
mhm,
know, we're part of NNPA
mhm.
as well.
Sure, sure.
So we make sure that we go to cities that have a Black publication or more than one, and we always partner with our Black newspapers because we try to use those newspapers and those platforms to market our rodeo. We don't do TV. We don't go and spend a whole lot of money on major market TV. We do
Mhm.
everything through our own Black Folk Network. And so far, we've sold out every show in every city that we've gone to so far.
Yeah, congratulations. That's amazing. That is amazingness. And I know that I've told some people about it and they're so excited and everything like that. And so how can we bring this to New York?
Well, a couple of things have to work into play. The weather, for one,
Hmm.
unless we can find an indoor arena that has all the facilities that we need to have a rodeo. Two, to make sure that it fits within the rodeo season, whereas there is a certain amount of time, a certain part of the year where people go and we travel through different areas of the country. So the cowboys go on a circuit. And so they're always moving constantly. They bring their own equipment, they bring their own horses, they bring everything they need with them. So it's an extensive travel network that moves around the country. So it's pretty tough to make sure we can get them in certain areas and be able to move, say, from one part of the country, stay on the East Coast for 2 or 3 months, and then keep
Hmm.
going from there. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's a lot of logistical things that come into play.
Sorry about that. What
Mhm.
usually is the cowboy season, the rodeo
Um,
season?
we usually start in February
Hmm.
and go from February all the way through. We'll be ending this year. Actually, next weekend we'll be ending in Las Vegas in October 17th and 18th.
Right.
And so we'll be looking to do that this next week coming up. Anybody's welcome to come. We do 3 shows. We do a Friday night show, a Saturday afternoon show, and a
I
Saturday night
checked
show.
those shows, everybody. It's sold out.
Yeah.
It's sold out already, people. I checked. So that's amazingness already that even a couple weeks leading up to the show being sold out. And I spoke to some people in Vegas that, do some work in Vegas. They're like, oh, I know about the Black Rodeo. I'm going. And I thought that was amazing. I was like, oh, that's my people. So go ahead. I'm listening.
No, so we're that'll end this year, and then we start back up again in February. So we'll be going into Nashville, Tennessee. We're going into Jacksonville, Florida. We'll also be in Okmulgee, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Kansas City, Missouri. We just added on Denver, Colorado, and we've
Wow.
also had Houston, Texas. In addition to, we're looking to do San Diego. So we're adding 3 new shows on. So
Hmm.
we should be up to around, excuse me, around 10 or 11 shows.
And what about sponsorship? Like people can sponsor the show, people can get involved if they have brands that they want to put out there.
Absolutely. What we try to do is each market that we go to, we try to get local sponsors so that people around that city can, market their products right there at the rodeo. We
Hmm.
have a vendors opportunities there as well, so local vendors are able to capitalize on the opportunity to have such large crowds there, and they can make money for themselves as well. So our goal is to make sure that not only do we make money, but we also try to make sure that those local businesses make money, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about: the local community, the people who live there, and the businesses, so that they can thrive and continue to be in business.
Awesome, amazingness. And now how can they log on to the Black Rodeo and see if they can sneak in a ticket for this last Las Vegas or get ready for the new year?
Well, you can go to blackrodeousa.com, get your tickets there. I encourage people to buy them ahead of time if they can. We do have online sales, but for you, Jineea, you always got a free ticket to any rodeo that we got coming up.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. And this is the gentleman, everybody, that I told you about that helped us, that kind of got behind us with the hip hop community and said that you guys are worth it. Clovis was the former chairman of the NNPA, and we'll talk about that a little bit. And the NNPA is the National Newspaper Publishers Association, which is an affiliation of over 200 Black-owned newspapers around the country. So you got to
Mhm.
look, if you don't know, look in your neighborhood and find, in New York we have the Daily Challenge, in New York we have the Afro. We've got a bunch of newspapers in New York, the Amsterdam News, that are part of the NNPA. But Clovis, you own the Arizona Informant out of the NNPA, and then was the former chairman of it. And one of the projects that you took on was our project with the Hip Hop Union, and
Absolutely.
you helped us move the needle forward. First of all, do you see hip hop now?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you see
Absolutely.
what we've done with the place?
Hip hop is a part of everybody's life. That's one thing I'm really proud of, the fact that we were able to partner with you and the core DJs and those folks to be able to say, hey, hip hop is a part of our life. Hip hop is a part of Black history. And the fact that hip hop needs to be recognized around, not just in the United States, but globally.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, it's part of our culture. And we want to make sure that we not only celebrate hip hop, but we also record the history of hip hop through our Black newspapers to make
Mhm.
sure that, as you know, a lot of our history is trying to be changed up and whitewashed. So we want to make sure that we can continue to have hip hop and the culture able, and make sure that people remember and are able to read it.
Awesome. And so you said, did you? Somebody called on my phone, but did you say that we need the print? Is that what did? You just say that we need to make sure that we keep the print so people can't change our history? Because that was
Absolutely.
something that you have always said to me that has stuck out in my mind about, you know um why the people who carry the torch with the newspapers continue, when we're going into the digital age, and continue to use the hard copy print. Can you just speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. Well, it's more important than ever, just because of the fact that with digital age, and with the opportunities with AI, the chances of our history being whitewashed or wiped away are very, very high. So what we have to do is make sure that we continue to print our stories so that they can't be deleted from a computer. As long as we have a copy that is a printed copy, that's something that we can look at and hold tangibly, and
Mm-hmm.
we can be able to read in our own hands. We need to make sure that our history is preserved. And the main way to preserve our history without it being altered at all is to make sure we got a printed version of everything we do. So
Sure.
I don't care what people say about how computer age is going to take us into the next level. It will. But at the same time, we've got to make sure we preserve our history and our stories and tell them through our own platforms as well. Because at the end of the day, if you let other folks write your history, it's going to be his story and not our story.
Exactly. And also, what do people need? How do we better need to support the Black press? You know, we think about the Black newspapers, and I've seen with the hip hop community and working with you, I've seen how influential the Black press is, and that most people don't know it. And so a lot of times you have, you know, the crusaders that are carrying the torch, but what do we need the people to do better as far as connecting with the Black press in their communities?
We need people to really support their Black press and support their local Black newspapers, because at the end of the day, they are the resources, and those are the people that continue to collect and print those stories. If you look at the digital age and how things come and go, 30-second sound bites are always going to be there. You see something in 30 seconds, next thing you know, you're scrolling up on Instagram looking for something else to look at. But when you look at the Black press and how we can support, tell our stories, record your history, say, okay, look, Jineea just did this. Here's a story about her. You know, that's going to be there forever. Your Instagram post is going to be there maybe 24 hours, and then it's gone. So we got to make sure that we tell our Black businesses that, hey, the way to reach the Black the way to reach the Black consumer is to make sure that you read the Black newspaper, advertise in the Black newspaper, because you want us to support you, and you got to be able to support us as well. So an investment with advertising in a Black newspaper is an investment that lasts a lifetime.
Oh, are you a commercial or what? So we are going to take a break, and do you have a couple more minutes just to talk to us about a couple more things?
Absolutely.
So we're going to take a break really quick, and we're going to come back with the illustrious Clovis Campbell Jr. and talk more about what's happening in the United States after we heard about the great things. So put down the rodeo, put down everything, and we'll be right back on Millennium News 24. My guy goes to sleep sometimes.
That's quite all right. We don't mind looking at you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Or maybe we won't.
Yeah, that's what I say too. So we'll keep on going, and and we're right back. Let's just say, and we're right back. But so we've got the newspapers. There's again 200 newspapers, and I think they're in what, 30 states?
A little over 30 states.
Right.
I think we don't have a couple
I
in.
got my numbers right. I got my numbers.
I tell you, you're doing your homework this weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
So they're there, and they're all in the major states. They're, you know, I know Georgia has a bunch of newspapers that they, you know, that are going around and things like that. And just to the hip hop community, Little John's rest in peace, his uncle was running one of the newspapers, right?
Okay.
Yep. His name was John. Wasn't his name John too?
John Smith.
The
I think it was John
Smith. And what was the name?
That was the Atlanta Inquirer.
Okay, right. And so that's Little John's people's family out there. So let's stay in touch with them. I know the influential piece of the Black press, and I want to make sure that the hip hop community gives the Black press what the respect that it deserves for moving the needle forward. Because, you know, I met you through the Wall Street Project, Reverend Jesse Jackson, rest in peace to my guy Vaughn Lee, who introduced us and said, yo, you guys need to work together. And it was magic from there. But then from the Reverend Jackson giving us that opportunity to stand up and have a seat at the table at hip hop, and then you kind of taking us on and spreading the message and spreading the goodness of coming from hip hop. And I know that I was able to write columns, and I didn't tell you, but I'm through those columns, I'm writing a book. So I took all of my columns, and the book is called Follow the Leader. And so
Okay.
through that column, shout out to George Curry, who pushed me right, girl.
Yep.
Shout out to George Curry. So I now took those columns that I wrote and talked about hip hop, and you guys gave me an awesome platform to talk about hip hop, talk about everything that was going on. And now to see hip hop move in this direction, you got Nas with casinos, you got Jay-Z over here, entrepreneurship. But if we go back to those beginning times when we were talking about it, those things didn't exist. So I definitely want the Black press to get the real credit for it, and really where we should be pointing our advertising dollars, because you guys have the what it takes to be who you are. And so just tell the people how long at the Black press 206.
Well, we'll be celebrating 200 years, not next year, but the year after. So we have 198 now. We're planning a big bicentennial celebration for our 200th in another couple of years. At the same time, we'll be watching our leader, Dr. Ben Chavis. He'll be retiring at the same time. So we're actively looking for someone to fill his shoes, which are extremely huge shoes.
Very
As
big
you know, he
shoes.
is a civil rights icon in himself, and he even elevated us to another level when he took on the role as our president and CEO. So yeah, we're celebrating 200 years, and we're looking forward to a huge celebration throughout that full year. We definitely expect to see you as a part of our program,
You
as a part of
already
our
know.
event. And we're looking forward to doing some big things when we do our celebration. But yes, we've been around 200 years. Our newspapers are doing some remarkable things. But right now, our goal is to attract more young people to read our newspapers. We want to make sure that they understand that, think about it. Most young people have never seen themselves in print. They're always looking at themselves on their cell phones. They're making videos. They're taking pictures of their food that they eat. But at the end of the day, they've never really seen themselves in print. So our goal is to put more stories about them in our publications so that they will want to pick up the paper and read it. And then once they see it, sure, you can still do your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, TikTok, but at the same time, there's still that other platform, the print platform, that they should be reading into. So our goal right now is to attract a new generation of readers for our publications.
Awesome. And so, and we've got a new generation of new American perspective folks that are going to join in here, because Clovis is definitely a friend of the show. And so now, Clovis, we're part political here. So we got to ask you, what's up with you? What's up with your homie President Trump in the office over there? What's up with him? What's your thoughts? What's your feelings? What do we need to do? Where do we need to go from here?
Well, we all know that's your boy. So,
Tell me, at least my people know it. You're not saying nothing new. They know, but I'm on him on this show. Like I don't just give him a pass and say, oh, he met this. No, I'm on him because I'm very angry. You know that, I have been a definite supporter, and I'm very angry at the fact that he hasn't talked about this Black economic agenda that we, supposedly made a deal for. He hasn't talked about that. All he's talked about is pillaging, the civil rights. And I just think that he has too many people around him that are, want to do what they want to do and make sure that we get out the way. That's my thought. And I'm pushing my way back up in there. So to make sure that, you don't make me look bad, President Trump.
Well, let me first say that, being in politics for a long time, I have no problem with Black folks being on both sides of the aisle. I think that white folks are on both sides of the aisle.
Sure.
So there's no reason why we can't have Black conservatives as well as Black liberals. The other thing is that there's got to be the opportunity to have a real candid discussion. You have to be able to get together, meet at the table and say, okay, this is what we think, whether you like it or not, at least have the discussion. Sure. Right now, I don't think that's being had. I think that there needs to be an opportunity with the Republicans in control of all of the levels of government. There's really, they don't really feel like they have to talk to anybody. And so it's unfortunate that the people who suffer are us as the American citizens. So, that being said, I want to say that, of course, there are some things that we totally disagree with when it comes to the programs and policies of President Trump, specifically for Black people. And the fact that we have you there and you made it known that you were going to be supporting him and he knows you support him. He's got to give you some opportunity to give him some input. Because
Sure.
at the end of the day, if he's not listening to us, I think you're one of the more reasonable people that I know on the conservative side. I can't listen to Tim Scott. I can't listen to Byron Donald. I
Right.
think those people are totally delusional. And the fact that they buy into everything that he says without even thinking about from their own perspective has me worried about those two brothers in particular. But at the end of the day, I've noticed that from where you started, you've been pushed out of the system. It seems like to me, I don't see as much of your input that you can see is being done by him listening to you. So I think that there needs to be the opportunity for you to get back at the table with him and to be able to articulate the message that most of us feel is that, hey, what about us? Don't put us away. So your input is going to be very necessary moving forward over these next
Sure.
36 months or so as we move into
And
this program.
I take full responsibility, for that. And like I kind of sat back and said, well, let me see, what he's going to do. We've got a couple people in there. And now let me say this too, because when you talk about Tim Scott, when you talk about Byron Donalds, there's a choice that you make when you become a Black Republican, right? You make the choice of what kind of Black Republican are you going to be? Are you going to be, a far right Republican and be off the Rickersdale and talk about everything that they're talking about? Or are you going to just be somebody? When I took the test, the test, I forget the name of the test, but when I took the test, I was slightly to the right. I wasn't all the way over to the right. But what happens is that when the Black community turns on you, right, and tells you, you look like this and you look like that, and because you're Black, and because you're a Republican, I think some of the Republicans, the Black Republicans, say to hell with them, and I'm gonna go over here with my white wife, and with my white situation that they're gonna take care of, and they're gonna make me look good. And who cares, because they're not going to represent us. And so I've had to, wrestle with a few people every now and then about being a Black Republican, but for the most part, I've gotten the respect because I'm true. Even my friend John Catsimatidis, billionaire real estate investor in New York, he said to me, listen, Jineea, we need you to represent the common sense Black community. So take the Republican off of it, take the Democrat off of it, and let's have common sense here. And so that's what he asked me to do. And I said, you know what, Mr. Katz, I love that. He wrote a book too called I can't believe it, I'm forgetting the name of his book. Lessons from a Common Sense Billionaire, right? Because he came up and he was a mate. He owned supermarkets and did basic stuff, and he's saying that I'm a common sense billionaire. I did common sense things. So he's saying we want you to showcase this common sense that you have. And I'm like, I'm not the only one that has common sense here. Now let's be clear about that. And like you said, sometimes the people are not listening and they don't understand. And so I know that this is crucial right here. And I know that Reverend Jackson, he can't say nothing to me right now. I'm so happy that Reverend Jackson can't say nothing to me right now. But I know that he's giving me the look like, you better go handle this after you didn't open up your mouth and you didn't went this way. But it's very important. And I've been pushing the envelope and trying to figure out what we're really up against, because it's not just Trump in there. There's, all these white folks, blonde-headed people that want their agenda. We just looked at the tragedy of Charlie Kirk, of who now they're trying to make their Martin Luther King, right? And so they're trying to say that, he lived a life like Martin Luther King, but everybody on our side is saying, oh no, he's not no Martin Luther King. he may be their Martin Luther King. And I think that's where we lose a little momentum, is because they can look at him like we know that he's not Martin Luther King, but look at what's he died. Now they're saying, I don't know if you heard, but Candace Owens is saying that Israel, well, he had basically told Israel, I'm done with you, in 48 hours, in text, he was dead. And so I don't get into that part about it, but that's what's going on. And so we do have a lot to talk about. And I am pushing my way back into the White House, because after everybody wants the accolades, everybody wants the things, and I'll be there. I'm going to be there.
Yeah, well, like you say, it's one thing to be conservative, but you can't get caught up drinking the Kool-Aid all the way. And I think there are some brothers, obviously, who are doing that.
Yeah.
When you talk about, what's going on, when you mentioned Charlie Kirk, and nobody wants to see anybody be killed,
Sure.
but and he has his right to say what he wants to say. The irony in that whole situation is now that they're talking about how he could say what he wanted to say, but now, as you look at this administration trying to censor everybody who says anything that is not favorable to them, all of a sudden it's a bad thing for us to speak, but it's okay for Charlie to say something. It's okay for Charlie to talk about Michelle Obama and Joy Reid, etc.
Right.
But when we say something about Charlie, it would be like on In Living Color. If you say something bad about Miss Jenkins, you can't say nothing bad about Miss Jenkins. But now we've got to look at it this way. There's this attack on our First Amendment rights. There's a severe attack on our freedoms as American citizens. There's this attack. They're talking about trying to get rid of birthright citizenship. So, when we look at all those things, we got a big problem that we really have to face. And I think that the people who are in the Republican Party have to stand up for the rights and the Constitution. Right now, they're going along with whatever is being done, and they know that it's clearly wrong. But at the end of the day, you still are elected by the people. Now, if you don't want to deal with that, if you don't want to support your people, when you have people doing town halls and they're yelling at you because you've done something wrong, you voted for the wrong type of bill, that big, beautiful bill is not. And it's not for American people. It's not going to help people out. So what we have to do is make sure that our friends on the Republican side of the aisle have to look out for their constituents first, and not the one person in the White House.
Sorry about that.
So at the end of the day, I think we need to have some real common sense discussions. I think both of the aisles need to sit down and talk and understand that, it's not about what one person wants. It's about what the citizens of the United States want.
And that is so true. And when you get an opportunity to come to New York again, we should sit down with John Catsimatidis and talk about what this common sense Black community looks like, right? Because I think that the Republican and the Democratic moniker of stuff, it just clouds up so much. Because I know when I got John Catsimatidis together with Reverend Jackson, John Catsimatidis being a former Democrat but now a Republican, but when I got him together with Jesse Jackson, they realized that they were saying a lot of the same things, and they realized that they agreed. But then when you got your girl Jasmine Crockett out here, she's fighting and pushing for the lines, and everybody kind of feeling their way out. And people, I think people are really misunderstood at the end of the day. And people are really, just in a place where they don't understand politics, don't understand what's going on, not really paying attention for the long haul. And I think that is the pure issue. So before I let you go, okay, let's talk a little football. I know that you also are football star. Your son did a little football, right? Your son was plays football, all that good stuff. Tell us a little bit about football, and then we're gonna talk about them Eagles, okay? But, but tell us a little bit about your football background. Even your father played football as well too, right? So
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I don't even think they had face masks on the helmet when he played. So that's just how long ago it was. I
hmm
did some college ball. My son played college ball, played overseas for a while. So we do have a lineage of being on the gridiron and appreciating football and watching it a little more than I probably should. But at the end of the day, I'm a football fanatic. I have several of my friends who played in the NFL that I play
hmm
golf with on a regular basis. So it's part of my life. I mean, I get up and watch Monday night football, Thursday night football, Sunday afternoon football.
Me too.
Hey, if they got a football, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I
So
heard you, and I'm there too. I'm a basketball player, football fan. But I'll tell you a little story. My dad, when I was growing up, so on Saturdays, the Smurfs and everything came on, in the morning. And so, I would be up early and I'd be watching the Smurfs. And he'd be like, all right, listen, we gonna make a deal here. He'd be like, I'm gonna let you watch TV on Saturday, but on Sundays, you're not touching the TV. That's it. So I became the craziest football fan, just like the guys, because my dad and all his brothers came over to the house and so I'm just like the fellas, like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And so I am a diehard football fan, Eagles fan, them Eagles, right? And
Eagles.
so what is your team right now?
Well, I've been a diehard. Let me say all this before I tell you my team name. This has been my team since I was about 7 years old. In Arizona, back in the day, you're younger than I am. So back then we only had like 4 or 5 TV channels.
Right.
One channel would come every Sunday, the Dallas Cowboys. On the other channel every Sunday would be the Oakland Raiders. And I did not like Dallas. So I've been an Oakland Raiders fan. I've been a Raiders fan for 35, 40 years. So that
Really?
being said, I'm not too
So we
happy
can
right now.
go back into the young pictures and see you with Raiders gear on.
Oh, you can see a picture of me last week with Raiders gear on. So
But the
absolutely.
Raiders don't look too good there. The Raiders,
No,
what do they need to do to get back on point? Because I went to a Raiders game and I was so disappointed. I went to the Raiders Chargers game recently, and I was disappointed in seeing what was happening on the Raiders. But what do they need to do to rebuild?
well, they need a quarterback and they need an offensive line. With those things being said, you can't play football in this day and age if you don't have a quarterback who doesn't make mistakes and an offensive line that can protect their quarterback. So those are the two main things first. And then obviously, when you don't have a quarterback or offensive line, your defense is out there playing all the time, so they're going to get tired and worn down. So eventually, at the end of the day, they get worn down, and so they've got a good coach, they've got a good scheme, they got some players, but I think that Geno Smith is not the answer. I was hoping he would do better coming off of his season in Seattle, but it has been just the opposite of what we
But
expected from him.
he played for the Jets, right? He was the quarterback for the Jets for a little while.
Oh yeah, he started out with the New York Jets, but then he had his best couple of years in Seattle, just the last 2-3 years.
Right.
And unfortunately, we've not seen that Geno Smith that was in Seattle. We've seen the Geno Smith that was with the Jets.
So I heard that they're thinking about a potential Shador Sanders. I know I heard that thrown around and stuff like that. How would you like that, and how real do you think that is?
Well, it would be nice, but unfortunately, the Browns just shipped Joe Flacco over to Cincinnati Bengals, and so that moves Shador up to the number 2 spot in their rotation. If they would have kept Flacco, they probably would have dealt him over. They would have probably dealt Shador to the Raiders. But now that they've got him in the number 2 spot, we're hurting for a quarterback. So we're looking for somebody. We got Kenny Pickett.
I don't know what, I guess Clovis is his Charger. I would assume that was a Charger, but again, I'm an Eagles fan. The last thing that I was going to ask him was, what about them Eagles? Eagles, Eagles. Now, I didn't like the fact that we lost last week. We lost this past week, and we play on Thursday. So this is a tough week, and maybe that's why Jalen Hurts said, "Oh, we can lose one," because they weren't phased with the 4-0. But I always look at stuff because I look at how we have betting in sports right now, when Pete Rose and all the people who took the L's for betting, they went to, they were scrutinized, and now the whole thing is about betting. Even I bet for the first time. Don't tell my bishop, but even I bet for the first time this last week. I lost. I put $10 bet. It was just a simple fun bet to try to see if I could look through everything, but I'm going to be more involved, and we're going to have some picks, and maybe we'll have Clovis Campbell back on for our picks. We got to see what his percentage of win rates are, but maybe he'll come on and help us out with our weekly picks, because I need help. Do you need help? What's your perspective? Who is your team? What are you guys playing outside of the United States and everything thereof? So again, I'm an Eagles fan. We lost this week. I felt as though that we shouldn't have lost. We lost the team that was 2-2. We were 4-0. But sometimes undefeated fatigue. You get tired of being undefeated and tired. I mean, I've got my beef with Jalen Hurts, because I don't know what he's doing or how he's doing it, right? But Jalen Hurts, I think he's an awesome quarterback. I think, maybe, some of these players, somebody's on the tape. You can't tell me all this money is going around the NFL and none of these players, where you got a whole list of how they going to perform, right? I know I'm a basketball player, so before every game, the coach will go over with me. Okay, listen, I'm gonna need 16-10 from you, right? So now, if we're betting on that, Jineea's average is 16-10, and then somebody come to me and be like, "Yo, 16. If you get 15-4, I'm gonna win $250,000." I don't know. I don't know if we're that loyal in this country. We're a country of greed. So I have no idea. So again, thank you to Clovis Campbell for coming on. I'm going to be at the Black Rodeo. I'm going to, I'm not messing with no bulls or nothing, but I'm going to play like it, so I'm going to be at the Black Rodeo. Shout out to Las Vegas. Shout out to all the people out in Las Vegas. Shout out to Jose de Garcia, hardest worker in Las Vegas. We'll be doing some business very soon. Shout out to, just everybody in the mix. Shout out to AB Butler. We're going to upload his Puffy. He went to the Puffy trial, and he actually said that Puffy was sitting there. Okay. He said that Puffy was sitting there, gave him the nod. Puffy had went to visit AB in jail when he was in jail. So, there you go. There you go. You got to talk that Eagles talk. Don't forget about that Eagles talk.
I heard you talking about the Eagles. They're going to be just fine.
Yeah. No, we're going to be fine. Yes. But here's the thing. My point in it is, do you really think, as a former athlete, do you really think that all of these players, how many players on a team? 64, right?
53 active players.
53 players on a team. So out of these 53 players, can you really trust them? I know that you were around with the Pete Rose scandal, right? Philadelphia Phillies, when he's betting on games, he said, "Well, I ain't never bet against my own team," right? They crucified him, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
And now you can bet on the games. So do you honestly think these players have taken an oath where they're just not going to do anything, where we're not going to see anything with them making undercover money? I know that there was a gentleman that he was like a second string NBA player that they caught point shaving. He wasn't even in the game or could make real big money that much. But do you really think that these players are not tapping into this money too?
Well, as a bettor myself, I've been disappointed in some of the performances of some folks at critical times. So, there's always that question. I look at some of the video. If you watch a lot of Instagram and things like you do, you see all these different guys that come and say, "Okay, watch this play from last night. and you'll see how sorry somebody played on one play in particular, particularly in the game on Monday night when the quarterback for Jacksonville scored the touchdown.
Mhm.
The defensive no guard, Chris Jones, basically stood up and watched the play. He didn't even try to tackle the man, and the man ended up falling down on the ground, getting back up,
Right,
and then
right.
running
And
into the
keep
end zone.
running. Right,
And
right.
Chris Jones stood there and watched the play. As soon as the
Mhm.
play started, he just stood up. So you got to kind of worry. And then you look at a play in college ball where it was a 6.5 point spread, and the team was up by 7 with 12 seconds to go. All they had to do was drop the ball and take a knee. The quarterback not only ran backwards, but ran backwards 40 yards into the end zone, took a safety, and the spread ended up being 5 points, and they lost the game.
Right.
So, you never know what's going on. You never know what people need. There's always something happening there. But at the end of the day, I'd say that for the friends of mine that have played in the National Football League and the NBA, they work 100% hard. You're a professional ball player, as well. You put 100% in everything you do. So
Mhm.
I would say that 99% of those guys work hard. The other
Okay,
1%,
okay, I'll
you
take it.
know.
I'll take it. It was an honest perspective. So, Clovis Campbell, thank you so much for joining us today here
Thank
on the
you.
New American Perspective. I talked about you coming back on the show and helping us out with our picks for the
Oh,
week
absolutely.
and stuff like that, and coming back and talking sports and talking, just the community and just America. Thank you for all that you do. Good luck on the Black Rodeo. I think I will be out there. But good luck on the Black Rodeo
Come
in
on.
Vegas, and we'll talk to you again. Thank you so much for
Great.
joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I look forward to seeing you every time. So be
Okay.
blessed, babe. Be
All
blessed.
right.
All
See
right.
you soon.